All right, here we are, another day, another video. We're now working the elimination technique. Again, we got this systems of equations right here. You can see we got two equations this time. We got two variables that are the same, and we're going to solve it. So here we go. I think we're going to do slide 9 and 11 if memory serves. There's slide 11. Slide 9, we'll start with that one. And we've got this right here. We've got 4x minus 2y equals negative 1. We got negative 4x plus 4y equals negative 2. Okay, so interesting here. We might end up with some fractions. We'll see. So let's check it out. What is the elimination technique? So the elimination technique is when we just simply add the two equations together. So let's see here. Let's grab a different color. Okay, so let's do like this. 4x minus 2y equals negative 1. And then we got negative 4x plus 4y equals negative 2. Okay, 4x plus 4y equals negative 2. Now you can see this one's already pretty well set up to just combine the two equations together. And you can see that the x's are going to actually cancel out and become 0. So we're going to have, if we just add the two equations together, we're going to have 0 because 4x and negative 4x becomes 0. Then we're going to have plus 2y, and here we're going to get negative 3. Okay, now we need to divide both sides by 2. Okay, we divide that side by 2, and we will end up with y equals negative 3 halves, or 1.5, negative 1.5 if we would care to write it as a decimal. Right, so this one was pretty well set up for us to just go ahead and add them together straight away and end up with a 0 in the x column, so to speak. Okay, so onward and forward here. Now let's grab a different color as we compute our y value. Maybe that's going to be a little bit too light. Let's try this one. So now again, we can pick either of these two equations. So let's say 4x minus 2y equals negative 1, and we know that y equals 1.5. So in this case, we're going to have 4x. Okay, and I'm going to actually do a quick substitution here. I'm going to put in 1.5 for y, or sorry, negative 1.5 in, and this is going to become plus 3, right? Because we have negative 2 times negative 1.5, right? So I took the the y value of negative 1.5. I substituted in there for y, multiply them together, and I end up with 3. That's going to give me negative 1. Okay, now I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. Minus 3 minus 3. We get 4x equals negative 4. Okay, now we're running low on space, but we still need to divide by 4. Divide by 4 over here, and we get x equals negative 1. All right, so let's go ahead and put that on our slide over here. Our solution is, what was it? X equals 1, negative 1. Right, let's double check. X equals negative 1. Y equals negative 1.5. And there we go. Let's do one more here. Let's do slide 11. Okay, this one is a tricky one because our problem here is not yet quite ready. If we add these together, we're just going to get a third equation. That's not going to really help us out. So we're going to need to do a little bit of changing here in order for these to become a good candidate for elimination, right? So I just start by looking and just seeing like, okay, what can I notice they have sort of in common? So one thing I could do here is I could divide this equation by 3, and I could divide this one by 2, and then I would have 2x and 2x here. But that kind of seems like it would be a lot, and then I would end up with fractions here. If I look at negative 10y and positive 5y, one thing I might be able to do is either double this one, so I would have positive 10y, or divide this one by 2 and end up with negative 5y. So I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to take this equation right here, every single thing in it, and I'm going to divide it by 2. Okay, so I'm going to get 8x, pardon me, no. Okay, hang on. Let's get all set for this. Okay, here, maybe I'll actually type this one out here. So when I divide it by 2, I'm going to get negative 4x minus 5y equals 12. Okay, so there we have that, and then we've got this right here. Oops, this one being our second equation. Okay, perfect. Now these are ready to be combined, right? We have our negative 5y and we have our positive 5y. So we're ready to add them together. Let me make sure I typed this right. Okay, I think I did. Okay, so let's combine them together, and we're going to get, so we add them here. And let's type out the answer. We're going to get negative 10x equals 14. Oh, would have been nicer if one of those was negative, but it wasn't to be. Okay, so there we go. Now we'll divide both sides by negative 10. Divide. Negative 10. Negative 10. And we'll get x equals negative 1.4. Okay, there we go. Now let's go ahead, grab a second color here, and let's figure out what the last of our variables, in this case, what y is. So let's say negative 4 times x minus 5y equals 12. Okay. Negative 4 times negative 1.4 minus 5y equals 12. Okay, and this is going to become, now let's see, let's go ahead and use our calculator here. Negative 4 times negative 1.4, that's going to become positive 5.6. Minus 5y equals 12. Okay, we're going to subtract 5.6 from both sides. And wow, this is getting complicated. That's great. We're going to get negative 5y equals, let's see, can I do that in my head? I believe 6.4. Okay, last thing we need to do is divide both sides by negative 5. Divided by negative 5. And here we go. What is it? 6.4 divided by negative 5. That is going to be negative 1.28. So y equals negative 1.28. Okay, so let's go ahead and write our solution in here. Solution. Let's see. X equals negative 1.4. Y equals negative 1.28. And there we have it, the elimination method. On an easy problem, elimination method. On a more difficult one. Good luck and work hard.